My Uncle Matt never existed, but my whole family remembers him. It sounds impossible, doesn't it? I wouldn't believe it myself if I hadn't lived through it. Even now, when I sit down to tell the story, the words don't make sense. It feels like trying to hold water in my hands. No matter how tightly I grip, it slips away, leaving me with only fragments. But I'll start at the beginning, at the night when everything first began to unravel. A few months ago, my family had one of those rare gatherings where everyone actually showed up. On my mom's side, there are two sisters. On my dad's side, two brothers. All of them are married. Most have kids. And since we all live within a couple hours of each other, I grew up surrounded by cousins. There are 10 of us in total, ranging from toddlers to early 20s. We're loud, messy, competitive, but we're family. And then there's Uncle Matt. He never married, never had kids, never moved far away. He was just always there. He came to dinners, birthdays, barbecues. He helped me with homework sometimes. He laughed at dumb jokes and brought weird gifts. He was part of the furniture of my childhood. The uncle everyone knew, but no one ever thought too much about. Until that night. It was a barbecue at Aunt Margot and Uncle Ken's house. The backyard was buzzing with laughter, plates clattering, kids chasing each other. I sat at the big table outside, more interested in the free food than the small talk. I remember the wind tugging at napkins, the smell of charred meat, the uneven wobble of the picnic bench under my elbows. Then Aunt Margot came over carrying a plate of hot dogs that were, to put it gently, ruined, blackened to the point of being brittle. My mom burst out laughing. "Is burning food genetic or something?" She teased. "How do you Jensens always manage this? You need to leave the cooking to the Millers." We all chuckled, but Uncle Ken frowned. "What are you talking about, Liz?" "Matt always does this too," my mom said, still laughing. "Remember when we had to ban him from cooking? 3 nights in a row of takeout because he burnt everything." Everyone at the table nodded, recalling their own versions of the story. That's when my dad spoke up, his tone sharp. "Honey, what are you talking about? Matt is your brother. Why would he be a Jensen?" The laughter stopped. My mom blinked. "No, he's yours. He's always been yours." I felt my stomach twist. "Wait, whose side is Uncle Matt on?" I asked, expecting a quick answer. But instead of answers, I got silence. Then overlapping voices, everyone suddenly unsure. Aunt June piped up, saying Matt must be from Dad's side. Aunt Margot insisted he was Mom's brother. My parents stared at each other like strangers. That was the moment something shifted. It wasn't funny anymore. Phones came out. My mom dug up an old photo from when she was a kid. Her, my grandparents, her brother Paul, her sister June. No Matt. Aunt Margot produced her own childhood photo. Her parents, her siblings. No Matt. For the next hour, the adults argued and compared evidence, flipping through albums, scrolling digital archives. Not one picture of Uncle Matt. Not one. I sat frozen, my food untouched, because I saw him the week before. He'd been in my living room, sitting cross-legged on the carpet, helping me untangle a math problem. I could remember the way he'd tap the pencil against the paper, humming under his breath. It was fresh in my memory. So, why wasn't he anywhere in the families? Someone suggested maybe he wasn't a real uncle, just a family friend we'd always called one, a second cousin, a neighbor, something. But that didn't explain why no one could agree on who he belonged to, or why he wasn't in a single photo, or why none of us had his number saved anymore. That part rattled me most. I'd texted him a few days earlier. I was sure of it. But when I checked my phone, his contact was gone. No text history. As if I'd imagined the whole thing. When I said this out loud, everyone checked their own phones. Same result. No contact. No messages. Not even a stray number that could have been his. The night stretched longer. We moved inside, away from the cooling air gathering around the kitchen island. Aunt Margot slapped a whiteboard down and started writing notes. Everything we remembered about Matt. His height, his hair, the things he liked, the last time we'd seen him. But it was chaos. Aunt June swore he had curly red hair. Uncle Andrew argued he was bald. I knew, absolutely knew he had brown hair, but the more I tried to describe him, the blurrier my memory became. The only traits we could all agree on were bizarre in their vagueness. He was a man. He was tall. He never had a mustache. He was terrible at math. He loved Jim Carrey movies. That was it. That was Uncle Matt, according to 12 people who had known him their entire lives. As the hours crept on, the tension thickened. We called relatives further out, people who rarely came to gatherings. None of them remembered Matt clearly. Some insisted he was real, others claimed they'd never met him. Every call ended in frustration. By midnight, the younger cousins were sent downstairs to sleep. The adults kept circling, desperate for answers, voices growing quieter, more uneasy. I refused to leave. Matt wasn't just some guy to me. He was my uncle, my friend, someone I spent real time with. How could I let them erase him? The night dragged until dawn. Coffee mugs littered the counters, papers filled with half-coherent notes. Around 9 a.m., people started dozing off on couches, defeated. Then it happened. Around 11, the kids stirred awake. They clattered into the kitchen, demanding breakfast. And that's when my little cousin Cass, barely 6, chirped out the words that made every hair on my body stand on end. "Uncle Matt gave us cookies last night. It was so fun." The room froze. We pulled Cass over, bombarding him with gentle but urgent questions. He described Matt sitting with them, putting on a movie, handing out cookies. Not all the kids remembered, but a few nodded along. I scanned the kitchen, my pulse pounding. Empty mugs, extra plates, more crumbs than there should have been. My hands shook as I counted out loud. There were 12 of us here last night. But there were only supposed to be 11, 10 adults, plus me. Someone else tried counting. Same result, again. Always 12. The air turned electric, thick with dread. He had been with us, not just last night, but sitting among us, unseen, counted yet invisible. And the memories, they began to warp. Strange details surfaced. Matt stacking bowls endlessly in the kitchen. Matt reading a blender manual aloud as a bedtime story. Matt packing a suitcase full of nothing but trash bags. At first, we laughed nervously, treating them as quirky Uncle Matt moments. But the more we remembered, the darker it became. He had shown up in our houses at night, bought knives in bulk and left them in my dad's car, gave us all hammers one Christmas. Things that made no sense, things that felt dangerous when strung together. We tried to involve the police, but how could they help? We had no last name, no photos, no contact information, no evidence he existed at all, just memories. Fragmented, shifting, contradictory memories. And yet, I can feel him. Even now, when I count the people in the room, sometimes I come up with an extra number. Always one more than there should be. My family shrugs it off now, treating it like a joke. They leave an extra plate out at dinners. They laugh when someone miscounts, but I don't laugh. I can't, because I know when he's there. I feel the hairs on my neck rise, the prickle of being watched, and I know he's hiding, slipping just out of sight, implanting himself into our memories like a virus. And I know one more thing. The more I try to remember him, the more my memories rot. They twist, they sour, they multiply into things I can't untangle. It's like he's punishing me for digging too deep. But that only makes me more certain. I will find you, Uncle Matt. I will find out what you are.